Hey, what's up, guys? It's me. I'm back. Sorry it's been so long, but I just hit writer's block, I guess, and you know, I just haven't really been making videos. Kind of felt like you guys have seen it all. But anyways, here's part 3 of Ask a Trucker. That's me. I'm a truck driver, I think. You know, I'm mostly steering wheel holder, but anyways. So a big question I always get asked is about training schools, trucking schools. You know, is this a good trucking school? Is that a good trucking school? I'm sorry I can't answer these questions, guys, but I don't know. I went to one trucking school and I researched basically that only one, and that was Walking Shepherd. I did the 30-day program there, and it was worth every penny. I spent about $4.5 grand for it, but I still use all those tips that they taught me today. It was a great school, so that was great for me, and I've heard good things about Sage truck driving. I'll just reiterate what I said in part 1 or 2 of Ask a Trucker. You just want to make sure they have the right equipment. A full sleeper truck with a full 53-foot trailer. You know, you want to ask if they're going to be taking you through the cities, you know, and you're going to be making tight turns in cities, going uphill, downhill, shifting, you know, that kind of thing. You're not just running around in a parking lot, because that's not going to do you any good in the real world. You know, I know there's a lot to learn when you go in. You know, a 1-week class really isn't going to do you a whole lot of good. You know, there's a whole lot of rules and regulations you got to learn, logbooks alone, and then driving the truck. So if it's like a 2, 3, maybe 4-week class, great. If it's a 1 week, I'd be really iffy as to what they're going to really teach you. My advice is really focus on, number 1, on the driving. You really want to get good at that. And number 2, focus on your logbooks. The rest is going to kind of come and fall into place. Just really focus on those 2 things, because you're going to get fed a lot of information, and it's going to kind of swirl in your head. Learn your hours of operation, hours of service, all right, because that's real important, because you can get a big fine. Learn your logbooks, how to do them properly, and learn how to drive the truck. The rest, kind of just take it as it comes. If you can remember it, great. If not, there's all kinds of people out here to ask, you know, what to do, how to do it. But just so you can focus on those 3 important things, that's my advice to you. When you are driving, another tip is, remember, you've got 14 points on the truck as to which you can hit things. You've got the front, you've got the 2 corners, you've got the sides of the truck, you've got the corner of the tandems, sorry, not the tandems, the duals, the wheels on the back. When you turn, it actually comes out like this, and you've got points there and points there. The corners of the trailer, sides of the trailer, backs of the trailer. You know, there's all kinds of points as where you could hit when you're turning. You know, you could get that tail swing going on and hit somebody. So when you're going around a corner, I was always taught, watch the tandems, watch the tandems. It was drilled into my head, watch the tandems, watch the tandems, watch the tandems. You know, if you're going around a corner, it's not going to be the trailer that necessarily hits somebody. It's going to be the tandems jumping up on the curb, killing babies, killing dogs, maybe some nuns, might hit a priest, maybe some candy, some Girl Scouts. You could hit those with your tandems. So always watch your tandems when you're making turns and that kind of thing. That's a really good piece of advice. Another thing is, when your tandems are slid all the way forward, you're going to have a huge tail swing. So I actually saw an accident in a truck stop where a guy was pulling out and his tail swing had pulled a mirror off a guy's fender. Truck stop accident. So this truck, who will remain unnamed, just bent that guy's mirror right there. I don't know if he did any damage. I wasn't actually watching at the time. I'm sitting here in the driver's seat, but I missed it. I heard a pop, but he was pulling out and tail swing got him. Pretty cool. Not really though. Poor bugger. That sucks. But anyways, so back to the original question. I really don't know much about a whole lot of trucking schools, guys. Like I said, just make sure that they're teaching on the right equipment, and that the class is going to be more, you know, around 2 or more weeks, because you're really not going to learn a whole lot in a week. It took me a week just to kind of get used to the whole aspect of everything, and then they're feeding information. So with that, I hope that helps, guys. Sorry I can't answer directly on is this school good, is that school good. Just take those tips and kind of roll with it. Like I said, again, I paid $4.5 grand for school, worth every penny. Doesn't necessarily meaning the more you pay, the better it's going to be, but you know, you can expect to pay anywhere from $25,000 to $6,000-$7,000 for training. But you know, if you're willing to stick with it, it's well worth it, especially if you receive good training. So hope that helped, guys. Second question I've been asked a few times is, what's my favorite part of my job and the worst part of my job? Let me start off with the negative. The worst part of my job that I don't like is the sheer boredom. It's kind of summed up as 10 hours of absolute boredom, followed by an hour or so of sheer terror. You know, you're just driving down the highway, holding the steering wheel, just cruising. You know, things just kind of zip by your head, and you're thinking, and you're just sitting there. All right, it comes with the territory. That's where satellite radio comes in, and radio, and that's about it really that you can do. CB if you can talk to somebody, but you just kind of get lost in your thoughts, and it's a good soul searching time. And then you pull off the highway and it's sheer terror, because now you got to pull into the truck stop, you got to find a tight spot, you know, that kind of thing. So number one would probably be boredom, but there's ways to fight that. You know, I have a good imagination, always have. The other bad part is, I don't know if it's bad, but like being in big cities with low bridges, low power lines, you know, truck weight limits and that kind of thing, and always being aware of where you are, and you know, because you can get into trouble real quick if you miss a turn. A lot of the times getting into trouble equals missing a turn. You know, you miss your turn off, you end up going down this road that has a low bridge, low power lines, and a weight restriction, you know, and there's nowhere to turn around, so you got to back up for 2 miles. I've done that before. But I like that challenge, so it's good and bad. The hours, you're not working a 9 to 5, you know, I'll work a 7 to 6, and then I won't work again, and then I'll have to get up, you know, start my day at 5 and work all the way through the night, and then switch back, that kind of thing. So the ever-changing schedule and kind of can get on your nerves a little bit. But that's mainly it, you know. Being away from family is a big one, being away from home. I'm only out usually 3 or 4 weeks, so it's not too bad, but still, it kind of, it's not the best. That's a pretty big one. But I love my job, I love what I do, so I take the good with the bad. I think that's it. Yeah, smelly truck drivers. Smelly, dirty, filthy truck drivers. I hate that. There's no excuse. Yeah, sometimes I'm not always fresh, but I shower at least every 2 days, at least. Sometimes I try to do it every day if I can. There's no excuse for poor hygiene out here. We got showers, we got, you know, sinks and restrooms we can wash our face and comb our hair and brush our teeth in. There's no excuse for that, so that's another pet peeve. That's about it, guys. That bugs me. What's my favorite thing out here is backing. Honestly, I love to back. I love the challenge of moving this 53-foot trailer backwards in tight spots. I love that part. If I could be a shunt truck driver and make the money I make now, I'd probably do that, because I just love that whole physics of it and all. That's probably my favorite part. I love seeing the country. That's a great thing. Getting paid to see the country and drive. I love to drive. I love to physically drive the truck and shift the gears and turn and everything. That's really neat. I love that. I love rolling through little small towns, you know, population 500, and you roll through an intersection, Main Street and First, you know, and you see all the little shops and towns and people milling around, and you know, you're out in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, and there's like this little town, and you roll through and kind of see another part of the country. I love that. That's a good part. Another thing I love, sunsets and sunrises. It's, you know, when a new day starts, something really calming about that and really exciting. And then when it, you know, you see some sunsets, especially out west, it's just unmatched anywhere. So I love that. And I just love the whole thing. It's there's a lot to love out here, but there's also a lot that can get you down. If you got a wife and kids at home, that can be tough. being away from them for so long, especially for that first year. You know, you're going to be out 5 or 6 weeks sometimes, unless you can find a local gig, and if you can, more power to you. But I've seen that break a lot of careers or break a lot of marriages. Sorry to say, guys, sadly, but you know, it's the truth. If you have a family, you might want to think twice about being in this industry, unless you absolutely need to drive truck, and hey, more power to you. I have seen it work. It has worked with people and with families, but it is tough. So luckily I'm single. Hey ladies, what's up? Yeah, I'm single. Call me. No kids, so it's easy for me. So I'm just out here trying to make some bank, make that cheddar, make that paper, and save some money, and, you know, buy my little house and whatnot. But there it is, guys. There's the things I love and hate, or love and dislike, and the truck questions. I hope this helped. Keep leaving comments on the videos. Keep asking me questions on Facebook or Twitter. You know, I read, like I said, I read every single comment that's ever posted. And with some good questions, I jot them down, you know, and answer these questions as I get time. So there it is, guys. Again, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. I love you guys dearly. Take care.